Ever wish you could, like, hop into a financial time machine, zip back in time and give your younger self some of that sweet, sweet financial advice?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, think of this deep dive as like the next best thing.
Okay.
We're diving headfirst into It All Makes Sense by Philip A. Stratton. And oh boy, this book, it's packed with those why didn't someone tell me this sooner moments. But hey, who's got time for financial regrets, right?
Right.
We're all about action here. So get ready as we unpack Stratton's wisdom and give you the tools to take control of your finances like right now. No time machine needed. What really struck me about Stratton's approach
Okay.
is that he just cuts right to the chase.
Yeah.
It's not about, becoming an overnight millionaire or anything like that. It's about understanding those money fundamentals no matter where you are in your financial journey, right?
Absolutely.
Like he kicks things off with this statement and it really stuck with me. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. Basic. But how often do we forget that?
Yeah.
Okay, that one's a little too real for me. I'm great at the whole making ambitious spending plans. Not so much the sticking to the plan part. I feel like that's a pretty universal struggle though.
Oh, absolutely. It's so common.
So how does Stratton like bridge that gap, between knowing we should save and actually for real doing it?
Well, he uses this analogy, and it's kind of funny, but it makes you think. Imagine trying to fill up a bathtub, but the drain is wide open.
Oh no.
Right. You can keep pouring water in there, working really hard, but is it actually filling up?
No.
That's what it's like when we're just focused on earning more without paying attention to our spending. Yeah, and you know that statistic, like 40% of families can't cover a $400 emergency.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
That's a wild.
Yeah.
So Stratton argues that having some kind of cushion, even a little one, it can make a world of difference.
That bathtub analogy, man, it really drives the point home.
It does.
And that statistic, that's a bit of a wake-up call, even for someone like me who likes to think they're good with money,
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with building that cushion, that safety net?
Well, for me, it starts with a mindset shift. Like instead of thinking, oh, I'll save later, it's I'm building my safety net today.
Okay.
That's where this whole emergency fund thing comes in.
Gotcha.
Gret describes it as a cushion, which I think is a really helpful way to look at it. It's not this impossible amount of money you need to scare yourself with.
Right.
It's about having a buffer, even if it's just a few $100 to start,
Yeah.
that you can use if something unexpected comes up.
So instead of thinking like mountain of money, it's more like, what, a financial first aid kit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having that peace of mind, knowing that if you get a flat tire or have an unexpected doctor's bill, it's not going to derail your entire financial life.
Okay, so we're talking about taking that first step, right? Building that financial first aid kit. I like that.
Yeah.
What I found really interesting is how Stratton connects our finances to our overall well-being.
Oh, absolutely.
He brings up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Psych 101, am I right?
Right. I know.
How does that tie into managing our money?
It's actually brilliant when you think about it. Remember the bottom tiers of the pyramid. It's all about our basic needs. You've got your food, your shelter, feeling safe and secure.
Yeah.
Those things, they're directly linked to our finances. Without money, meeting those needs, it's a lot harder.
Yeah, you can't pay your rent with good intentions.
Exactly.
Really?
Sadly, not. But here's the catch. Stratton says that marketing and just societal pressure in general, it blurs the lines between our actual needs and what we just want.
Oh, yeah.
We start thinking that a new car or a designer purse is going to fulfill these deeper needs, like belonging or feeling good about ourselves.
Right.
He even quotes Seth Godin. I love this quote. He asks, do you have a chocolate problem or an oxygen problem?
Wow.
It's such a good question because it makes us really think about why we spend the way we do. Are we spending on things that truly matter?
That quote, game changer. I'm using that next time I'm about to buy something on impulse.
Yeah.
But it brings up a good point. How do we even define enough in a world that constantly tells us we need more, more, more?
It is a big question, isn't it?
Right.
And Stratton doesn't pretend to have all the answers.
Sure.
But he suggests maybe trying a different perspective.
Right.
Like instead of how much can I get,
Yeah.
it's what's actually going to make me feel good, what's going to make me feel content.
Okay, love the perspective shift, but like how do we actually put that into practice?
Right.
Because it's easy to say like I'm going to define my own enough.
Right.
When you're surrounded by, ads and influencers telling you like you need more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's not saying it's a one-time decision, It's a process. It's about checking in with yourself regularly, asking yourself, like, does this purchase really line up with what I care about? Is this really going to bring me joy, or am I just caught up in the moment?
So it's like building a muscle, that awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes time, it takes practice, especially when, we're told that happiness equals having all the newest things, but the reward is huge. Can you imagine, like, knowing that who you are isn't tied to how much money you have or the things that you own?
That's like next level financial freedom,
Right.
right? It's
I
not
like,
just about like having the money to do whatever you want.
right.
It's that mental freedom.
Yeah, being in control.
Yeah. Okay, so we're figuring out what enough means. We're building our little emergency fund, but there's still this big scary B word we haven't talked about.
Oh, you mean budgeting?
Yeah, budgeting.
Yeah.
A lot of people, myself included, we hear that word and we like shudder.
I know, right?
It feels so restrictive, so not fun. Like you're putting yourself on a financial diet.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and who wants to do that?
Nobody.
But here's the thing. Stratton, he has a different way to think about it. Instead of a budget, he calls it a spending plan.
Okay.
And it sounds like a small thing, but just changing the words can make a huge difference.
It does, yeah.
Now, it's not about restricting yourself. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is my money. How do I want to use it? How do I make it align with the things that I want in my life?
A spending plan feels so much more empowering than a budget.
Right.
But where do you even start?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I've tried those budgeting apps and I get so lost, like categorizing every single penny.
I feel ya. And Stratton talks about that too. Like there are just so many tools, so many apps out there. It can feel really overwhelming.
Totally.
But the system,
Yeah.
that's what matters more than the actual tool. Okay? It's about finding the thing that clicks with you. Like what's going to help you understand where your money's actually going.
So not about the perfect app. It's more about finding a system that you can stick with.
Exactly. And he lays out some key things any good system needs. First up, track your spending.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. Even if you just jot down everything you spend for a week or two, it can be really eye-opening.
I'm a big fan of the Notes app on my phone.
There you go. Whatever works,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Second, organize your expenses into categories. This can really help you see where you might be overspending and where you might be able to cut back a little.
Makes sense.
And finally, plan ahead. Like that's huge if you're trying to break free from that paycheck to paycheck cycle and make some real progress towards your goals.
I'm starting to feel better about this whole budgeting thing.
See?
But what about those more like old school methods?
Yeah.
Stratton mentions this thing called the envelope system. It sounds almost too simple to work.
Right. But it can be surprisingly effective. So basically, you use cash for specific categories, like groceries, entertainment, and you put that cash in separate envelopes.
Okay.
Once the cash in the envelope is gone, that's it. You've hit your limit for that category.
Oh, I see. So it's like a visual reminder of, okay, this is how much I have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who tend to swipe a little too easily,
Oh, yeah.
Now, I get it. We live in a digital world. Cash isn't always practical for everything. But with this system, you're forced to be intentional. You're thinking about your spending more.
It kind of makes it fun. It's like a game. Can I make it through the month without dipping into my fun money envelope?
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't feel like such a chore anymore,
Right.
Okay. But moving beyond just managing our money day to day, Stratton wants us to be smarter about the financial stuff we use too. So we're talking banks, credit unions, and those credit cards everyone seems to have questions about.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people, including myself, we just kind of stick with the same bank, same credit card company for years, out of habit.
Totally.
Like kind of afraid of the unknown,
Yeah, the fear is real. It is.
But Stratton's right. They're not all the same.
It's like, when you're buying a new phone or something. You shop around, right?
Totally, yeah.
Financial stuff, it should be the same.
Exactly. You got to compare.
So where should people start?
Well, Stratton's a big fan of credit unions.
Okay.
He says people don't always think about them, but they can have better interest rates, lower fees. Traditional banks aren't the only option.
Right, right.
And credit cards, oh man, don't just jump on the first offer you see.
Oh, tell me about it. All those sign-up bonuses, it's so tempting.
Right. You get caught up in the moment and forget to read all that fine print.
Exactly.
Those bonuses, they're nice and all, but they shouldn't be the only thing you're looking at.
Right.
Compare interest rates, fees, what kind of rewards you'll get. Make sure it works with the way you spend.
Okay.
And here's something I bet you didn't expect. Stratton actually thinks credit cards can be a good thing.
Wait, really? Because We've all heard the horror stories about credit card debt and everything. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But his point is they're a tool, right?
Yeah.
It's all about how you use them. If you're responsible, they can actually work in your favor.
So, like, no treating it like free money.
Exactly. If you treat it like a debit card, but with bonuses, that's the key. Only spend what you can actually afford to pay back right away.
Okay, that makes sense.
And when you pay on time, you build up your credit score, which is huge if you ever need a loan down the line. Plus, lots of cards give you cash back, travel points,
Oh, yeah.
perks.
Yeah.
Use them right. You're putting money back in your pocket.
It's like, what's that saying? It's not the tool, it's the craftsman, or something like that.
Exactly.
A credit card can help you or hurt you. It all depends how you use it.
100%.
Okay.
Now, shifting gears a little bit, Stratton talks about what he calls the big four when it comes to spending.
The big four.
Yeah. So these are the areas where most people spend most of their money. Housing, transportation, food, and clothes. He says even small changes in these areas can make a difference.
That's where it all adds up.
Exactly.
And he really gets into the details here, right? It's not just like, oh, spend less on food. He's got strategies, like real actionable advice.
Oh, yeah. Like, for example, did you know that a family of four can easily spend, get this, over $1,800 a month on groceries?
You're kidding?
Nope. Wild right.
That is a lot of groceries.
That's a lot of groceries. But don't worry, he's got tips for cutting those costs without, resorting to ramen noodles every night.
Okay, good.
He's all about meal planning, buying in bulk, maybe checking out different grocery stores, even shopping online sometimes.
So being smart about it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Be intentional, know where your money's going, and make choices that actually work for you.
I like that.
And that applies to all the big four.
Okay.
So maybe you downsize your place,
Uh-huh.
maybe you explore different ways to get around, even just being mindful of how many clothes you buy.
Okay.
There are ways to save without feeling like you're missing out on life.
Right, finding that balance.
Yes. Okay, so we've talked about building that emergency fund, figuring out what enough means for us, getting that spending plan in order, even touched on investing a little bit.
That's a lot, but important stuff.
It is. But there's one more thing we got to talk about. It's the R word.
Retirement.
Retirement.
Done, done, done. Yeah, nobody wants to think about that. Too far away.
Right. It feels like a lifetime away, especially when you're just getting started. But Stratton is adamant that it's never too early to at least start thinking about it.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the whole I'll deal with it later approach.
Nope. He addresses those excuses we all have. Retirement, I'm never going to be able to retire.
Yeah.
I'll start saving when I make more money. He shuts those down right away.
How so?
Well, he talks about the power of compounding.
Compounding.
But like you're earning interest on your interest.
Okay.
The earlier you start investing, even a little bit, the more time your money has to grow, like exponentially.
Okay, so time is on your side, basically.
Big time. And he explains this whole concept using something called the Rule of 72.
Rule of 72. I've never heard of that.
It's cool. You take 72, divide it by the interest rate you think you'll earn on your investments, and that gives you a rough idea of how long it'll take for your money to double.
So, like, if you're earning, let's just say 7%,
Right.
it would take 10 years for your money to double.
Exactly.
But then it doubles again and again.
That's the beauty of compounding.
Wow, okay. So even starting small can make a huge difference in the long run.
Exactly. Every little bit counts. And Stratton, he does a great job breaking down different retirement accounts, like
Right.
your 401ks, your IRAs.
It can be so confusing, all that stuff.
Right. But he makes it super easy to understand. And he stresses how important it is to use those employer-sponsored plans, especially if your company matches your contributions.
Oh, yeah. Free money.
Exactly. Who doesn't love free money?
Okay, we've covered a ton today. Building that financial first aid kit, figuring out what enough means to us, creating a spending plan that actually works, even tackling the scary R word.
And we did it all with a little help from Stratton, and it all makes sense.
It really is an insightful book, a must-read for anyone who wants to feel more in control of their money,
Totally agree. It's not just about the money, though, is it?
Right.
It's about figuring out what you value, what's important to you, and creating a life that reflects that.
Yes, I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. You're looking back on this moment. What's that one thing you did, that one step you took that you're really grateful for? That's something to think about. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.